Don, I worked with a lot. Don, I became very tight with Don. I got to love him, and he was like, that was like a whole nother aspect of my career, working with him. We became very friendly. I would drive him to work, drive him back, because we would do all those Bob Stewart shows. 5 shows, 3 times a week, you know.
He was announcing all of the
He
shows.
was announcing, and
3 in a match and
3 in a match,
jackpot, winning
and
streak.
he's like, I don't know how to explain Pardo, but was a really unique guy, very talented, and misunderstood in many ways. I mean, people had all these stereotype ideas about what he thought and who he was, and they were all wrong if you really knew him. Like that he was cheap. He was frugal, but he wasn't cheap. He was incredibly honest, like, and would never gone after anybody else's work. I mean, was very honest with his managers that they would get their share. Mm. I believe this to be a true story, although I couldn't verify it. But I was told that he was at a party once and he inadvertently ran into an agency guy that asked him to do an AT&T commercial, 30-second commercial, and he would pay him $10,000 for the 30-second commercial. This is years ago, many years ago. And Don said, yeah, okay. And then he went home, and within a couple of days, he called his manager, and he said to his manager, you know, by the way, I was at a party, I met this guy, and I'm going to do a, you know, call him and set it up. I'm going to do a 30-second spot for him for $10,000. And this manager said, no, you're not. You're not doing it for 10. $50,000. And he called the guy up, and the guy said, okay, I'll pay $50,000. That's what they paid him, $50,000.
Wow.
But Pardo was ready to do it for 30. And if he were a little corrupt, he probably didn't even have to tell his agent anything, but he wasn't that way. Also, when Letterman wanted him to replace their announcer, Bill Wendell, and he had no idea. He went in, he was asked to go and see the producer. He went in, said, he said, no, isn't that Bill Wendell's job? He said, I don't go after anybody else's work. And he wouldn't take it. Mm. That's true story. Mm. He was a funny guy. I was privileged to be the only guy Lorne wanted to record him when he refused to come in live every week. At a certain point, he said to Lorne, got to get another announcer, I'm not coming in. And Lorne said, no, you got to come in, Don. He said, nope, I'm not doing it. He says, well, we'll record you in Arizona. So we did, and Lorne wanted me to record him, so I would record him every week on a Friday night.
You'd go?
No, I didn't go to Arizona. I did it from New York. At the time, I was still working full-time for them. Uh-huh. And I'd go down on Friday night from the editing room, and I'd hook up with, I set the whole thing up with an audio guy and everything in Arizona, and I would record him. And he's in his 90s now, and it was not easy to record him. And I was up against it with time, because the cast would be coming in to do voiceovers and stuff. And Nicky, the guy who sent us, he was always rushing me, you know, and I'd be fighting with him. I'd say, don't be telling me what takes I'm going to buy and not buy. He'd say, it's good enough, you know. My big fear was that Lorne would hear it in dress and go to Kenny and say, what's it with Bobby Caminiti? Why is he buying this bad reading, you know? And what was I supposed to do now? Re-record him from Arizona between dress and air? It's like an impossible thing to do. So I would have to, like, be patient with him, and you know, he'd say, how's that, Bob? And I'd say, it's great, Don, give me another one. And then I'd hear back in my ear, well, if it's great, why are you asking me to do another one? You know, that kind of thing. I can't mimic his voice, but you can. I'd say, well, you know, like Mike Gargiulo used to say, for safety. You know, he said for safety, meaning technically we might lose it. Okay, Bob, you're the boss. That's what he would say to me. In fact. And one day,
Gargiulo, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mike Gargiulo was the director on those game shows. The Bob Stewart.
Yeah,
game show.
Gargiulo used to say, do another one for
safety.
Yeah, he was another piece of work, Gargiulo. That guy made a fortune doing game show television. That's all he did too, was direct. Never got involved in anything else. He'd be out the door and leave me with the show to edit it or something.
Would he say that because he didn't have the take, and that's how he would get Pardo to do it again, for safety? Was that like his?
No, he
gimmick?
never recorded Pardo. I used to do it all, but I did it more for Saturday Night Live than for the game shows. But on occasion, I'd have to re-record him because he would, and he had a habit of coughing. He said it was about to cure him. We're fading up, and he'd go, oh. And I'd say, Jesus, you know. Of course, they would tape shows, but then I'd have to get rid of that or something, you know. But I loved Pardo. He could do no wrong.
Yeah, unmistakable.
And he was funny.
Yeah.
I heard a story that he was on his roof one day cleaning leaves. He was cheap that way. He didn't like to pay anybody to do anything. And kids came by, and the neighborhood kids, and they know who he is, and they shouted up to him. Hey, Mr. Pardo, Mr. Pardo, say it, say it. Say what? Say it, you know. And he'd go, live from New York, it's Saturday night. He almost fall off the roof or something like that. Another time he broke his leg or something, and he's in a cast. There's a big snowstorm. He used to wait for me when I had edits. When I was the principal AD, I had to edit sometimes for the West Coast. And I'd say to Don, go home on your own because I got to edit. You know, I got to be an hour, maybe more. I got to edit for the West Coast. Oh, I don't care, Bob. I'm coming down to the edit room. I'll sit there with you while you edit. I want to go home with you. So, one day, there's this massive snowstorm. Kenny didn't even want us to go home. Kenny Mung, the coordinator, says, we'll put you in a hotel. We don't want to stay in any hotel. We're going home. So we get in the car, and he talks up a storm with the drivers. They're always from Pakistan or India or whatever. He's asking them a million questions. And we get to his house in Demorest. He gets out of the car, and he's got crutches, and his leg snow is like this high. And I say, Don. He says, no, don't wait here. Don't worry, I'm going to be fine. He says, go, just go. I said, no, I got to make sure you get in the house. No way. He says, just get out of here. So we leave. But I get a half a mile away, and I'm feeling very guilty. I said, how can I leave this guy? He's old. He was pretty old then, too. I mean, so I asked the driver if he would go back. He said, sure. We go back, and he's shoveling snow. He's shoveling his driveway out.
On crutches?
On crutches. We used to listen to Italian tapes, and he fell in love with the tutor on the Italian tape. Her name was Anna Caminiti.
You mean like Italian lessons?
Yeah, Italian tapes. And he I love her voice. I'm in love with her and all of this.
I would love to have heard Don Pardo speaking Italian.
I don't know if he spoke fluent Polish. One day I'm walking up 6th Avenue. I meet this guy selling something. I don't know what the hell he was selling. I don't remember. And I could tell he was Polish. So I said, hey, by the way, you Polish? He says, yeah. I said, you speak Polish? He says, absolutely. I said, you're going to be around here a while? He says, yeah, I'll be here. I went to the building, and I found Pardo. I says, Don, come with me. He says, where are we going? I said, just come with me. I got a guy, I want you to speak Polish to him. I want to hear you speak Polish. He says, you're crazy, Caminiti, but he went with me. And we went up to this guy, and I introduced him, and he started talking in Polish. By the way, Don Pardo had all the Jeopardy cards in his basement.
What do you mean?
He asked Jeopardy for all those cards when Jeopardy went off the air, and Bob Rubin gave them to him. So he took all the Jeopardy cards home.
Oh, wow.
You know, and he lined all the walls of his basement with the Jeopardy cards. And I saw that.
Amazing.
He says, "Come on down, Bob, see my Jeopardy basement." You know, you know, whatever category so and so for $80, whatever. Don, I love Don Pardo. He was so funny. The two of us used to find the cheapest place to park. And that guy made more money than we have hair on our head, but I mean it, but he hated to spend a lot of money to park. So we used to park. You know, I didn't have his income, so I was always looking to park cheap. And I used to find these places, and then he would follow me. We park, and I'd say, parking over at 42nd Street and 12th Avenue, $2 a day or something. You know, Bobby, I'll be over there. Like. So he decides that he didn't want to do the walk because it's too cheap to take the bus. I don't know if it was cheap, but so he buys himself a fold-up bike. He takes the bike and throws it in the car. And then he parks on 42nd and 12th, parking lot, circle line, pulls it out of the thing, and then he would ride to NBC, and then fold it back up, take it up the elevator, and put it in his lounge, announcer's lounge. But in those days, there was a bank on 49th Street, not there anymore. And half of that block on 49th to 6th Avenue was like glass. Like dark glass. You couldn't see in it, but it was glass, and it would show a reflection of the cars in the street or people walking by. So one day he was riding with that silly bike, and he's a big, tall guy. He's like over 6 foot tall. Yeah. And he's on this silly fold-up bike, right? And he's riding up 49th Street against traffic, because it was one way going west. And he glances over in the mirror, and he sees himself in there on the bike. And he looks absolutely ridiculous on the bike. And he does a double take, and he says, "Is that me?" to himself. This is him telling me this story. "That's me." I look stupid. And he never rode the bike again after that. And he wanted to give me the bike. He says, "I'll give you the bike." I says, "I don't want it, though."